Hi monorail fans and welcome back to Dean Park. Spring might be just around the corner, but it's still pretty chilly up here in Scotland. I went out to the shed to do a bit of aerosol painting earlier on, and the thermometer wasn't even at 5 degrees, so I had to bin that idea pretty sharpish. So I've come up the loft instead to discuss Accurascale's mighty Deltic. When the model came out well over 3 years ago now, it came out to great acclaim. After all, it was Accurascale's first ready-to-run locomotive, and it was a good effort. In fact, it was a great effort, and it's an award-winning model. However, it wasn't without its little foibles. So when Batch 2 was announced, I made sure I got my hands on some to see where the improvements had been made, and hopefully enjoy a little bit more of a robust model. However, there was a little bit of an issue. The factory had fitted the wrong lighting mask in front of the LEDs at the noses, and this led to incorrect lighting at both ends of the loco. So Accurascale came up with a fix, and they're now supplying free of charge replacement lighting masks. All you have to do is contact their support via the website, and they'll send these out to you in the post. In this video, I'll show you the modification and how easy it is to fit and get the loco looking even better than before, and really making the Accurascale Deltic great again. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you wish to support the channel, please hit those like and subscribe icons. It takes a second to do, but it means a lot and it helps me grow the Dean Park channel. If you have any feedback, please post that in the comments section below. But in the meantime, enjoy the video. The loco I've got here is 55004, and when I put the headlights on, you can see that the two marker lights light up in white, but unfortunately the two lower tail lights also illuminate in white, which obviously isn't correct or prototypical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this loco out of shot now, and I'll bring 55013, the black watch, into view, and that's a loco that I've modified. And as you can see here, the marker lights are illuminated, and correctly, the lower marker lights are blacked out. There's no light coming from them at all. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video, fitting the free supplied panels from Accurascale. As I mentioned in my intro, there's been a few improvements over the first release of the Deltic, namely the grab rails at the front there don't stick out so much. The separately fitted parts, such as the horns and some of the detail on the bogies, are no longer made from yellow plastic and then painted, which had an issue in the first batch. If you flexed them or had to handle them anyway, sometimes the paint would flake off that particular part. These have been improved on the second run. Another thing is there's no bogie chains fitted. You can do that yourself if you wish. Because there's no bogie chains fitted, it makes removal of the body a lot easier. And whilst I've got the body off these Deltics, I'm going to fit crew. Another thing I'd recommend that you remove before you start fiddling about taking the body off is taking away the buffer beam detail. Now that just simply unscrews from the bottom of the chassis. It saves any of the fine detail breaking off as you're handling the model, because you will be working around about the nose end where the lights are, so you don't really want to start to have to glue bits and pieces back on from the buffer beam later on in this process. When doing any servicing or working on my locos, I tend to use this Pico PL70 servicing cradle or some soft black foam. It cradles the loco and stops any of the fine detail on the loco becoming damaged against the hard surface. So I'm just going to go ahead now and remove the buffer beam from the loco prior to taking the body off. There are two small screws underneath here. They just come out. And you just carefully work the buffer beam free from the model. Put that safely aside. Before doing any work on any particular loco, I would always recommend that you have a look at the manufacturer's leaflet that comes with any particular model. This one is fairly comprehensive. In here it will tell you all the parts if you wish to order any spares, and it will show you how to remove the body, and it will basically tell me where the locating clips are, and that's really what I'm interested in here. Okay, with the model in the cradle, what I've done is I've just put two guitar plectrums where the clips are, which is just around the first window at the back of the cab door. So I've managed to slide those in there. Now, if you've not got those or you're struggling to get them to fit, what you can do is you can use just bits of plastic card. I've just got an old piece of clear plastic card here, and I'll just use that to slide in between the body and the chassis. You've just got to prise it apart very gently, and then that'll allow you to slide the bit of plastic card in enough to activate the clip. And it's a simple case after that of gently pulling the loco away from the chassis and the underframe. Don't pull on the bogies when you're doing this. That's very kind of fragile area. You don't want to start taking out gears and flywheels. Always hold the loco by a substantial part. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can prise that out now and remove the body. So there we go. Here you may get a look at the offending LEDs here at the front. On most of the versions, one of the LEDs at each side is covered all the time, which is the white light. On the BR Blue and earlier models, it's only the tail light that you want to show through the small round lights on the nose. And with this cover in place, it allowed, unfortunately, the white and the red to show. So that's where the problem lay. Accurascale, however, have provided this replacement part, which will slide in instead of this one. So I'm going to swap them over now and hopefully cover the LEDs that I don't want seen on this particular version. Okay, I've just prized that panel up. Now on this panel is the bit that you're going to replace, plus the LED lighting board, and that's attached by two small spigots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back end of a blade, not the sharp end, and just prise in between the LED board and the panel, and it pops off. And there are the two small spigots that were holding it in place. And then hopefully I've got two spigots on this new one. That just goes in the same two holes, like so, clips into place, and you slide it back in. Job done. Before I get carried away with myself and cry victory, I'm going to take it up to the layout now, and I'm going to test the lights to make sure that the clear lights that I don't want to see are no longer visible through this new mask. So here I've got 55004 in for its modification. And just to prove that it wasn't a fluke with 013, I'm going to try and do this light replacement as well. So just take the edge of a knife in there, and then the other side, carefully prise it away from the circuit board. There we go. Now that's taken the two clips out. So I should be able to lift this old plastic panel away from the lighting control panel. Just lightly lift the panel out, and then that should just be able to lever off like so. You've really got to be careful with this lighting PCB because there's lots of fine wires attached to the back. I then get the new lighting part like so. And you've kind of got to, if you want to keep this lighting bar in place or as much as possible, you can angle that down like so, line it up, and job done. So you can actually remove and replace this panel without taking the PCB with the LEDs out too much, which is probably advisable because there, as I said, a lot of fine wires attached to the back. I can see me getting quite slick at doing this. I've got a couple more Deltics to do, one of my mates. So I'm going to just continue with the other end of this 55004. I'll put the crew in this as well, and then I'll get the body back on, and I'll show a couple of shots of that on the layout in its modified form. Accurascale supply dedicated drivers for their Deltic, and they come both in early BR and late, and these are the late version. And all I'm going to do is stick a little bit of black tack onto the bottom of the driver and second man and plonk them in to their seat. And they're designed to fit especially into the Accurascale Deltic, and they're designed by Model U, and they do look the part. This little second man here is munching on a sandwich and having his cup of tea whilst the driver is hard at work. So once they're in position, they're not going to go anywhere, and the black tack does allow you to remove them later on if you so wish. When you're putting the body back on the Deltic, you've got to clear these foam pads that run the length of the chassis. So just prise the body out a little bit as it gets into contact with these pads, and it should slide seamlessly into position. Well, that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you've got any batch 2 Deltics, I'd recommend you contact Accurascale and get your free upgraded lighting masks sent out in the post and get them fitted to your model. It really does make all the difference. If you're through at Model Rail Scotland at Glasgow this weekend, pop in to see me on the Saturday. I'm on the West Hill Wagon Works trade stand. Always happy to catch up and say hello. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.